on, guys? It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video, and it looked like Caitlin Clark has been targeted by A'ja Wilson and Time Magazine. Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way up to New York. Let's get it. Let's go.
Caitlin Clark has finally broken her silence, and she didn't do it through a dramatic press conference or a public statement. Instead, she shared a single, powerful Instagram post that sent shockwaves throughout the entire WNBA. This came shortly after A'ja Wilson's harsh comments in her Time magazine feature, and Clark's response was both subtle and intentional. She said her focus was on playing golf and enjoying other sports, and how those activities are good for her mind and body. Those words were carefully chosen, sending a clear message that she wasn't bothered by the drama surrounding her. This wasn't a random or careless social media post, it was a quiet act of defiance. By stepping away from the controversy, Clark showed her commitment to inner peace and mental clarity, despite the intense criticism and debate. The entire league watched in surprise as she chose her own way to respond, deciding to handle the situation on her terms, not anyone else's.
Did not make Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, probably because she was hurt and probably because she was last year's Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. Well, I'm here to tell you they decided to go with another WNBA star. That was A'ja Wilson. Now, A'ja Wilson, to me, shouldn't have got it, bro. She got help from the WNBA referees throughout the whole entire season. Everybody act like they forget that. I mean, they hella cheated against the Fever, pretty much causing Leah Boston to foul out the game, and ultimately, you know, that's how they won, you know, to go on and win a WNBA championship. Now, in this said magazine,
the firestorm we're talking about began when A'ja Wilson appeared on the cover of Time magazine as its Athlete of the Year. Many people had expected that honor to go to Clark instead, especially since she received the same title just last year, which only added to the tension. That highly sought-after spotlight and powerful platform became the setting for Wilson's sharp criticism, where she directly challenged the narrative surrounding Clark's impact on women's basketball. This was far more than a routine interview or a few casual answers. It felt intentional and confrontational, a direct verbal attack on Clark's perceived influence and her role in the league's growth. The WNBA was already like a powder keg waiting to explode, and Wilson's words struck the match. The timing, the platform, and the deliberate delivery made the moment feel truly explosive.
Caitlin Clark took a hit this past season. Caitlin Clark only playing 13 games ultimately killed the WNBA viewership. Look at everybody's numbers. Like the numbers don't lie. Had Caitlin Clark balled out and had a spectacular season and the Indiana Fever won the WNBA championship, I believe the WNBA content will be at an all-time high. I mean, record-breaking high. Now, do that mean that the hype with the WNBA is over? No, it does not mean that. That means everything is on a standstill. The standstill means that we got to wait till next year to see how Caitlin Clark ball out and to see if Caitlin Clark's going to be the same Caitlin Clark we remember her to be at Iowa. Now, there was pictures going on.
The Time article pushed the controversy even further by suggesting that Clark's embrace by fans and the media had created a toxic and deeply divisive narrative. It framed her as being portrayed as the sole figure responsible for saving a league that had actually been built over decades by a mostly black player base through relentless work and sacrifice. This pointed criticism from Wilson implied that Clark's rapid rise to superstardom was overshadowing, and in some ways erasing, the hard-earned legacies of veteran players, many of whom had been grinding to grow the league long before it received mainstream attention. The article also hinted at a racial undertone behind the overwhelming praise and commercial support Clark received, exposing an uncomfortable divide within the basketball community. The implication was that Clark's popularity wasn't driven by talent alone, but by deeper, more troubling issues tied to race and representation in women's sports.
We got to wait till next year to see how Caitlin Clark ball out and to see if Caitlin Clark's going to be the same Caitlin Clark we remember her to be at Iowa. Now, there was pictures going around yesterday, which we reported on, of Caitlin Clark losing a bunch of weight. Caitlin Clark looking like the old Caitlin Clark she was at Iowa. She lost all the muscle. It's all gone. I believe the muscle could have contributed to Caitlin Clark getting hurt this year. But that's neither here or there. I don't want to keep beating a dead drum. Now, with that being said, we know Caitlin Clark was one of the most Googled people in the world when it comes to sports. I'm here to tell you, Caitlin Clark didn't even make the...
Wilson passionately defended her own accomplished career, stating with confidence, I'm going to do me regardless. I'm going to win the MVP. I will win a gold medal. You can't shake my resume." She made it clear that her remarks were not meant as a personal critique of her own achievements or an act of self-deprecation, but rather as a broader concern about the league's identity and how its history was being represented. This strong self-assertion revealed her deep frustration with what she saw as a lack of recognition for her exceptional success and dominance in the league, especially when compared to the immediate and overwhelming attention Clark received from the very beginning. Wilson has multiple MVP awards, championship titles, and Olympic gold medals, yet she felt that her accomplishments were being overshadowed or forgotten amid the Clark-centered narrative that had come to define the league.
Clark was one of the most Googled people in the world when it comes to sports. I'm here to tell you, Caitlin Clark didn't even make the top 10 when it comes to the most Googled people. Let's pull this up real quick before we get into this whole story about A'ja Wilson. So, it was only one WNBA player that was on this Google list, and me personally, I didn't find this to be shocking. Only part I found it to be shocking was how far down she was. Now, this was the most Googled people in all of 2025. Now, I did a video on my other channel.
Wilson's true fear, which she expressed with genuine emotion, was that the league was losing its identity and its history. The very DNA that made the WNBA what it is today. She voiced deep concern that this crucial foundation, built through years of struggle and perseverance, was being temporarily erased and pushed aside. She emphasized the countless women who built the WNBA brick by brick long before Clark ever entered the professional scene. This wasn't about television ratings, social media attention, or merchandise sales. It was about honoring the pioneers, respecting the sacrifices they made, and preserving the lasting legacy of predominantly black players who paved the way, fighting for every dollar and every measure of respect that today's stars now enjoy. In Wilson's view, she was fighting for the soul of the league, trying to protect something she believed was being lost amid the hype surrounding a single player.
Talk numbers, because I'm a numbers guy. I don't want to cheat the system. Never had cheated the system when it comes to my numbers or anything like that. I just think that just is bad, to cheat the system. But you can't cheat this system because Sophie Cunningham is the most popular WNBA player in the world. If we're going off this list right here, Sophie Cunningham is the most popular women's basketball player in the world. Now let's move on to the story of the hour. The story of the hour is...
Wilson pointed to the 2025 WNBA season statistics as validation of her argument, noting that viewership for both the regular season and the playoffs increased by 5 to 6%. What made this even more significant, she emphasized, was that the rise occurred despite Caitlin Clark missing much of the season because of a serious injury. To Wilson, this proved that the league's growth and strength were organic and not dependent on any single player, no matter how popular, directly challenging the so-called Clark effect narrative that had dominated sports media. She confidently stated that it was only a matter of time, insisting that the league's upward momentum was both inevitable and sustainable without relying on one superstar. Her message was clear. The WNBA had built something real and enduring that did not hinge on any individual player.
Her rocket ship run comes at in 2024, Caitlin Clark rookie season helped the WNBA hit a milestone TV and attendance figures, but Caitlin Clark created a toxic, racially devised narrative that she was almost singularly responsible for, salvaging a league whose foundation had been built by mostly black player base. This storyline bothered Wilson in 2024, earned her third WNBA MVP and her second Olympic gold medal in Paris, where she was named tournament MVP. It wasn't a hit.
However, this is where the situation takes a truly shocking turn. According to revelations from our sources, the WNBA may have been manipulating viewership data to maintain the narrative that the league was thriving without Caitlin Clark. Insiders claim that behind-the-scenes changes were made to how viewership was calculated, including counting views that would not normally be included under standard metrics. These adjustments were allegedly designed to offset the massive drop in audience numbers after Clark was sidelined by injury. If true, This means the reported 5 to 6% increase may not reflect the league's true, unaltered viewership. Such actions would represent a serious cover-up with major implications. Our analysis of the raw data suggests that WNBA viewership sharply declined once Caitlin Clark was injured. After playing only 13 games before being sidelined, her absence reportedly caused viewership to collapse in ways the league attempted to conceal, directly contradicting official reports. When examined closely, the numbers tell a very different story. Without Clark on the court for a full season, overall content quality and audience engagement took a significant and undeniable hit, one that no statistical manipulation could fully hide. The unprecedented excitement surrounding her arrival quickly faded in her absence, much like a fire burning out once the fuel is removed. Adding fuel to the controversy, our expert analyst argues that A'ja Wilson should not have received the Athlete of the Year honor in the first place. The claim points to questionable officiating decisions throughout the championship season that allegedly benefited Wilson's team. One specific game against the Fever was highlighted, where a minor box-out by Wilson's teammate led to a key opposing player fouling out, directly impacting the outcome of that pivotal matchup and ultimately clearing the path to a championship. These allegations cast a shadow over Wilson's accolades, suggesting that factors beyond pure skill and talent played a role in her success. According to a league insider with deep connections, this controversy is not about race, despite repeated attempts by certain media figures and league representatives to frame it that way. Caitlin Clark is just a phenomenal basketball player, the source stated emphatically, insisting that the focus should remain on her measurable impact on viewership, attendance, and engagement, not on manufactured racial narratives. The argument is that race has been deliberately injected into the discussion to distract from the core issue of popularity and genuine growth metrics, which tell a far different story. This approach is seen as a dangerous path for the WNBA. Many fans believe the persistent criticism of Caitlin Clark by league leaders and certain media outlets represents a coordinated effort to diminish and tear down the league's most marketable star. This behavior has deeply frustrated fans who simply want to enjoy great basketball. Instead of fostering unity and celebration, it has created hostility and division, undermining the values the WNBA claims to uphold. These ongoing attacks are pulling the league apart, creating fractures among fans and players alike. Further complicating the narrative is data from Google's most searched people list for 2025. Surprisingly, Caitlin Clark did not make the top 10, despite her immense media coverage. Even more shocking, only one WNBA player appeared on the list, Sophie Cunningham, who ranked 7th. This unexpected result challenges assumptions about player popularity and how fans actually engage with women's basketball content. Concerns have also emerged regarding Clark's physical condition. Recent reports indicate she lost a significant amount of weight and muscle mass, resembling her earlier Iowa form. Experts worry this loss of muscle may have contributed directly to her injury-plagued season, raising questions about her durability and long-term health as a professional athlete, and, by extension, the league's viewership struggles during her absence. The potential for the WNBA's growth remains enormous, but many believe it hinges heavily on Clark's health and performance moving forward. Analysts argue that if Clark had delivered a dominant, MVP-caliber season and led the Fever deep into the playoffs, or to a championship, WNBA viewership would currently be at record-breaking levels. Instead, the league finds itself stalled, with momentum frozen until next season. As it stands, the league's future growth largely depends on whether Clark can return to her dominant form. The pressure is immense, and anticipation for her return in May is sky-high, assuming no lockout delays the season. Fans remain confident she will come back stronger and silence critics, demonstrating a loyal and resilient fan base ready to rally behind her. That Clark's comeback represents more than individual success. It is seen as a turning point for the league's integrity, business future, and long-term trajectory. Meanwhile, many observers note what they perceive as ongoing bitterness from A'ja Wilson toward Clark, despite Wilson's extraordinary resume, including multiple MVP awards and Olympic gold medals. Even with her accolades, Wilson's repeated focus on Clark, particularly in what some describe as a highly politicized Time magazine interview, has puzzled fans and fueled speculation about envy and resentment. Clark supporters continue to express frustration with what they view as relentless attempts to undermine her impact. This ongoing saga highlights deeper issues within the WNBA's culture and leadership, where internal politics and rivalries appear to overshadow collective progress and business growth. The league now stands at a crossroads. Can it unite its stars and capitalize on unprecedented mainstream attention, or will internal conflict and manufactured narratives continue to derail momentum? With viewership under scrutiny and its biggest star under constant attack, the WNBA faces decisions that could shape its future for years to come. The path chosen in the coming months may determine whether women's professional basketball truly reaches its potential, or fractures under the weight of controversy.
Blah, blah. And it goes on to say, the 2025 WNBA campaign provided a measure of vindication of many players, despite Caitlin Clark missing most of the season with an injury. Something Wilson, to be clear, did not cheer viewership for both the regular season or postseason, which was up 5%, 6%. Now, we did a video a couple months ago telling you how they was cheating the viewership. They made some changes in the viewership to the WNBA viewership to not make it look like they took a hit. Guys, they took a hit.